Daily calibration checks are extremely important. Technicians perform calibration checks to make sure the spirometer is able to accurately and consistently measure correct volumes at different flows. There are different types of calibration checks depending on the type of spirometer being used. Calibration checks help the technician identify faulty sensors, hardware, electronic circuits, or software. If a spirometer does not pass a calibration check, it should be removed from service until all problems are fixed. Do not perform spirometry with a spirometer that does not pass a daily calibration check.
Ensuring that the spirometer system is functioning properly is one of the most important tasks for the technician. A proper calibration check procedure is required and must be maintained within quality assurance records. In the occupational setting, calibration check records should be retained for the length of time the medical record is kept. OSHA requires that medical records be kept for 30 years after termination of a worker's employment. However, technicians should check with the healthcare provider for the record retention rules of their organization.
Calibration checks for volume accuracy should be performed on both flow and volume type spirometers each day of testing. A 3-liter syringe is used to check spirometer volumes. The technician should check the syringe for leaks and damage each day of testing. Visually inspect the outside of the syringe, including the ends, for cracks, excessive wear, or other damage. If the plunger has a stop ring, check to make sure it is not loose and has not been moved. To check the syringe for a leak, ensure the outlet is open and withdraw the plunger to fill the syringe with room air. You should hear a soft click that indicates the piston is completely extended. Watch as our technician performs a leak check on a spirometer calibration syringe. First, we will discuss how to check the calibration of a flow-type spirometer. To perform a calibration check on a flow-type spirometer, begin by looking at the manufacturer's instructions for your spirometer model. This information should be found in the operator's manual. Most spirometry systems require that you enter temperature, barometric pressure, or both as part of your calibration check procedure. Some systems may also direct the technician to enter relative humidity. The technician must confirm the accuracy of these measurements. Do not use the spirometer's default settings for ambient conditions. After performing the syringe leak check and entering the ambient conditions, it is now time to perform the calibration check on your flow spirometer. Select Calibration Check from the spirometer menu. Flush the syringe a few times with room air. Then, as directed, check the calibration using the syringe to inject air at 3 different speeds. You must empty the syringe into the spirometer once over 6 seconds, once over 3 seconds, and once over 1/2 to 1 second. To gauge your injection flow speed, you may want to count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, or 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and so on. While to gauge the speed emptying the syringe, spirometers will display calibration check results as an absolute volume, a % difference between the measured and injected volumes, or both. If the accuracy is displayed as a volume, the measured volume for all 3 injection speeds should be between 2.90 and 3.10 liters. Volume accuracies displayed as a % difference must be between negative 3.5% and positive 3.5%. If only one volume is not within the acceptable volume range, the calibration check will have failed. The cause of the failure should be identified and corrected before another calibration check is repeated. Spirometry testing should not proceed until the measured volume passes all 3 injection speeds. This may take several attempts. Next, we will see what steps to follow if a flow spirometer fails a calibration check. Use a new disposable sensor. Tighten connections. Check sensor. Check for air movement in the room. For example, a heating or air conditioning vent. Replace tubing. Check calibration syringe. Linearity checks on flow spirometers generally require 3 consecutive injections, each at different flow rates. This means 3 slow injections, 3 medium injections, and 3 fast injections. Read the operator's manual for your spirometer before you do a linearity check. This type of calibration check should be performed weekly. Volume spirometers are a little different from flow-type spirometers. See specific instructions outlined in the user's guide for calibrating a volume-type spirometer. If it has been used for subject testing, flush the volume spirometer before doing a syringe check. A volume spirometer must first be checked for leaks, as it should be a closed system. Only the volume-type spirometer is checked for leaks. According to ATS, leaks measuring larger than 30 milliliters per minute must be repaired, since they will affect test measurements. As with flow spirometers, volume spirometer calibration checks are done every day of testing. Measured volume should be between 2.90 to 3.10 liters. This is the same as negative 3.5% to positive 3.5%. Here are the steps for performing a volume calibration check on a volume-type spirometer. Volume spirometers also require linearity checks. A linearity check must be performed every 3 months. Check the operator's manual for instructions. In addition to calibration checks, biologic controls should also be performed. A healthy, non-smoking staff member should serve as a biologic control. These staff members should routinely perform spirometry on themselves at the same time of day to develop a baseline normal. NIOSH recommends that biologic controls be performed at least once a month or while troubleshooting equipment. Maintain a record of all maneuvers. Check your operator's manual for more information.
NIOSH cannot overemphasize the importance of daily calibration checks, regardless of what spirometer model your facility uses. All of these calibration check procedures help the clinician have confidence that the lung volumes reported from spirometry testing are accurate. These calibration checks are vitally important. In the next module, you will learn how to do spirometry testing.